Okay.
From the east to the west, and from the south to the north. From Los Angeles, Estrella de Los Ángeles presenta a Mario Lino in a program that brings hope and family together, touching subjects that concerns the community and family in general. Today's program has education, entertainment, politics, and a little salt and pepper to your taste.
Yeah. A little bit of salt and pepper to your taste. My friends, this is Mario Lino, and this is John Briscoe. My friend Evelyn and Pablo Miramontes and Rosario are out of town for Easter weekend, so it's only two of us. I hope you guys enjoy the show, and let's get into it, John. We have a big problem now. Seems to be like the censorship is still active, really active.
Oh, it's bigger than active.
Yeah, recently, this week, for some reason, MSNBC decided to hire Ronald McDaniels, who this person used to be in charge of the Republican Party. So I assume MSNBC wanted to have a different voice in it, for a change. Since they only have one voice in it to listen to, they figured we'll hire this lady.
I think all their voices have a little D by their voter registration for Democrat. There's no Republicans on that show.
That's for sure, no doubt on my mind. But what I'm saying is, they hired this lady, and she was desperately to have a job. She goes and gets assigned a contract for $250,000 for the first year or something like that. And turns out to be that everybody at the station got up on their feet and they complained and screamed and yelling and everything, and she finally got fired from that location.
And before she uttered a word, took a stand, said anything of any importance, on the first day, because the crybabies, the Democrat crybabies on the BSDNC station, couldn't stand to have another voice there, and so it remains a one-sided show. It was really disappointing.
So what do you call that? That's a censorship. They don't have a voice for if a Republican person wanted to watch their show, their station, they won't watch it because there's no opinion in there. You know what I mean?
Well, it's all one opinion. I would call it censorship, and I would call it dictatorship. Dictatorship of the one opinion, the one way, and no other way.
The question that goes to my mind is, when is these people going to learn? That they have to be wide open, mind. Why they close themselves in a circle and they eat D and they lunch, dinner, and all the 9 yards, the salad, everything has to do with the D, DMC.
Well, it's the party line. The sad story in Florida, the RFK, I went to his rally earlier this year. The RFK guy, Kennedy, tried to get on the ballot in Florida for the primary, and the Democrat Party refused to let him even be on the ballot. Couldn't even be on the ballot, none. His name could not be there. And that's not really very democratic. I don't know where they get their party name from, but it's not very democratic. Kind of dictatorship and autocratic, in my opinion.
So, John Briscoe, you mind if I ask you a question, a simple one and easy from a simple man?
I'm a simple man.
So, that's two of us. Do you think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk generates so much hate? Why? What's the reason for it? You have a reason for it? What do you think?
Well, Elon Musk is so much hate because people are jealous. Same way with Donald Trump. When you campaign, with the Fannie Willis and the prosecutor in New York City campaigned to go get somebody, and that's not the way this democracy, our republic, is supposed to run. You don't campaign to get somebody. You campaign to obey, follow, and enforce the laws. So they're jealous. They're jealous and they hate.
But there's a reason why they're jealous of the two of them, because you know what they do? They stand for the truth. That's what it is.
They do. And Elon Musk is so brilliant. He bought started the rocket ship company, and everybody thought it was a dream and impossible. And now he can land a rocket straight up and down, like nobody else does. Straight up, it lands right down on the pad where it belongs, and it goes up to be reused again. Makes spaceflight the cheapest it's ever been. He bought a company called Boring. It drills holes underground. He plans to have high-speed rail, not the garbage diaper load dump that the high-speed rail in California is, but a real high-speed rail underground that goes by vacuum on maglev tracks that uses almost no energy and whisks people at 300 miles an hour or more from spot to spot with his boring tunnel. He actually is drilling a tunnel right now under Los Angeles. Brilliant. He's smart. People are jealous of smart and rich people. He's also rich because he gets paid for his smartness. Donald Trump? Oh no, Donald Trump, they just want to take his richness away, capture his buildings and put a chain on the front door lock.
Take all the money away from him. That's what they want to do. I don't know what they're going to do with their money, but I want people out there who's watching the show, please, you can participate in the show. Send me a comment, send me a hello. I'm right here. Yoo-hoo. And we can chat. We can discuss the program. I want to hear your opinion. Salvador, can you play a video clip for me, please? I need a clip, please. Oh, Salvador is not ready. Jackety over there, please.
Well, no, they're jealous and they're hateful. They're hateful, and people were cheering when Donald Trump was maybe going to have to pony up over $500 million to have the right to appeal. Just the right to appear before another judge. The Supreme Court of New York State stepped in and fixed that and reduced it to $175 million, which he'll pay in cash.
Okay, well, talking about the haters, okay, we all know that. As far as immigration, you know, in the last 2 weeks, for the record, you know, a girl by name Kyla Hamilton, Maria Gonzalez, Lisbeth Medina, Laken Raleigh, all these people would be alive if they don't have this open border. What's your opinion on all this situation?
My family.
John, consider last week that they went over the National Guard and they tripled down on the wire and that 500 people went through, no problem.
My family is immigrants. My grandparents both immigrated here on my mother's side. My father's, mi tata abuela, was from Baja California. So I know and understand immigration, but my family immigrated legally, unlike Roberto Garcia, who stayed here for 15 years on a visitor's visa until he got an amnesty from Reagan. My family, immigrants are great. The country is built on immigrants. We're an immigrant country. We allow more people today to immigrate legally under the quota system from each country than any other country in the world. We allow millions in every year legally, but not 18 million in 4 years period of time.
Okay.
So what I was going to say is that the problem is not immigration. We have a problem, but the problem is criminals. MS-13, robbers, father rapers, mother stabbers, these horrible people coming in with no criminal vetting, no background check, no nothing. That's the problem. So the problem is criminals, but you can't stop the criminals until we stop the border invasion.
The only way we stop is, can you play the clip for me, please?
Criminals.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Is anybody on the screen that wanted to talk to me?
Well, now we even have people coming in from Venezuela and
Colombia
on tourist visas, robbing and burglarizing, and then hopping on a plane and going back
home. Joining me now, Victor Davis Hanson, the Hoover Institute Senior Fellow. Victor, you know, I want to get to the root of this thing.
Let's get
the conversation between Republicans and Democrats.
Salvador,
obviously, the late Senator Joe Lieberman passing at 80.
That's okay. Go ahead and play. That's my friend. Joe Lieberman, yeah, he's a cool guy. He's independent.
Well, he was young when he died. He looked like he was 90 years old, but he really wasn't.
82 years old.
82.
I mean, I don't know about John. You know, that's a lot of years.
I was young in my world. My grandpa lived to be 97. My great-grandpa lived to be 98.
Family, you know, for the family of Joe Lieberman, I want to express my sympathy to them. You know, he was a nice guy. He actually was in the Senate for a long time, and he was kind of the balancer. You know, he will do work with the Republicans and do work with Democrats, but he was like in between.
He was a moderate, and he was a balancing point. There are not very many moderate Democrats anymore.
So we don't have no moderates anymore.
No. And it's sad. No, Joe Lieberman was a great voice of reason. Even ran for vice president, the first Jewish vice president on a national ticket ever.
Yes, and he also ran for not president. He was a vice president. He ran for vice president with Al Gore.
Yeah, with Al Gore, Gore Lieberman, and he was a senator for 3 terms. That's 12 years. No, that's more than that. That's 18 years.
So since we are talking about immigration, the other day, you know, President of Mexico, Manuel López Obrador, he actually has an idea, and he suggested it to a national television when he did an interview with CBS. And he says that he will help the United States to protect the border if he gets $20 billion.
Well, what's a few $billion here and there? He's thinking if we can chunk over $150 billion in 3 different bills to Ukraine for a war that's going nowhere, certainly we could chunk over $20 billion to keep our own stinking border secure and still allow in millions of people legally. We allow people in every day legally.
But why so much money? Why everything has got to do with money? We didn't have to do this before when Donald Trump was there.
Joe has dementia. And she's not the only liberal icon caught flat-footed. Comedian Jon Stewart is now under fire after internet ninjas discovered that he overvalued one of his New York properties by more than $15 million. That's the same type of so-called fraud that President Trump was just recently found liable for. The apartment in question was valued by John and sold to a financier for over $17 million, even though the official assessment came in at only around $847,000.
Oh, my God.
But hey, it seems fair to me. I believe in a free market, and John can list and sell his properties for as much as someone's willing to pay. But here's what John had to say about President Trump after he was fined $464 million for doing almost the exact same thing.
Go ahead.
$500 million.
Go ahead. Play it.
Attorney General of New York knew that Trump's property values were inflated because when it came time to pay taxes, Trump undervalued the very same properties. It was all part of a very sophisticated real estate practice known as lying. How is he not this mad about overvaluations in the real world?
Okay.
Because
you
they are
see-
not victimless crimes.
You see, John, what I'm talking about, these people, the Democrats, they can do anything that they want. They don't get in trouble. But, oh boy, if a Republican does raise the prices on the property or they don't raise it or whatever, any little thing, they get in trouble right away. Why is it? Why is 2 different tiers of system for these people?
Well, the details in the case are more appalling than the amounts. The judge valuing Mar-a-Lago worth $1 billion or whatever it's worth, or $500 million, at 13 to $18 million was what he said it was worth, is ridiculous. Yeah, the case was the valuations being used in business with banks, and the testimony in the case claimed that whatever Trump said it was worth is what the lenders used to be valuing it. And if your insurance policies, which are invested in things like Trump Tower, if your 401ks and the other investments are invested in things where the person who borrowed the money is all that's used to say how much it's worth, we have a big problem. Because it's a lie. When a bank or an insurance company or a pension plan loans money on a big project, they go do diligence all over to see how much it's really worth. Yeah, so the borrower said it's worth $40 million, and it's really only worth $20. They're only a loan on $20 million. And so the idea, whatever the person is borrowing says it's worth, is ridiculous on the face. It's stupid with business practice that doesn't exist. And it's going to get thrown out. At least now Trump can pony up $175 million
In cash.
to have a right to have his case heard in front of a judge that doesn't know his head from a hole in the ground. $13 million for Mar-a-Lago. Really?
These are all the consequences that we have right now. We are dealing with it. Remember the phrase that Obama used when he said it when he did his acceptance speech? He says, "Get ready, because we're going to change fundamental." He says, "Get ready, we're going to change transform America." This is the transformation we look at. Everybody's throwing all kinds of lies. They can do whatever they want. They can steal. They can share. They can debate. They can throw people under the rug and everything, and there's no problem for them. But this other party does something like that, forget it. They go to jail. Look what they did to Peter Navarro.
Oh, and he's in jail.
He's in jail right now. He's going to do 4 months. This poor guy, he's 80 and change years old. And yet, under Obama, Mr. What's his name? This prosecutor.
I don't remember.
Under Obama, he had a prosecutor that he sent all kinds of arms to Mexico. He got contempt of Congress.
The Attorney General.
Attorney General Holder.
Holder. Eric Holder.
Eric Holder. He got also contempt of Congress. He never did 1 day in jail.
Total contempt, and nothing ever happened because.
So what? Can you explain to the people the difference? Why they doing such a disgusting things to the one party and leave the other people alone.
It's called the politicization of the Justice Department, where they prosecute some people and not others. They can decide who they want to go after or not, but when you have the exact same case, you should do the exact same thing. Even Steven, both level, and they don't. Navarro's in jail now.
Is these people think that the people that are watching this show, they don't understand the system? Who are they trying to fool? Themselves, I guess.
Well, if people, it's sad. And the Eric Holder's crimes were huge. Not showing up for Congress to defend selling guns to Mexico. They came back and killed U.S. border guards and other guns into the U.S. He didn't want to tell the story because it was a disaster. That's a big testimony. All Navarro was going to talk about was advice and opinions he had with regards to Donald Trump and the states that didn't follow the Constitution for conducting an election led by the legislatures. So he's in jail.
So how do we put a stop to this nonsense that they're doing?
We need to elect people that will enforce the law. The Republicans control the Congress by one seat, one vote. And we just had somebody resign. It's down to one. So if we lose the control of the Congress, the Senate's controlled by the Democrats, we have sleepy Joe Biden in the White House, we're screwed. I'm sorry, we are in big trouble because then there's no control, no check and balance. Nobody's going to go check into and look into the Hunter Biden laptop that the FBI lied about. He kept in a drawer and said was fake Russian news. Nobody's going to open that up if we don't keep the Congress.
I need a picture of Raul Ortiz. Raul Ortiz. I want to talk a little bit about Raul Ortiz. This young man worked his one step at a time. He came to a big, solid position. He became the chief of the immigration to represent the whole country, even 5,000 were the Canadian border, 2,000 miles on 5,000 miles on Canadian, 2,000 miles on Mexico, and whatever enters of the ports and everything. He was in charge of all these people, in charge of 25,000 employees.
Wow.
Okay, big shot. This guy was a big shot. One of the reasons that he left his position is because he didn't like what Biden was doing to the department. He wasn't apprehending people. He was telling them, stay down, don't get the people, get them inside, let them come in so we can register them for asylum and all that stuff. He didn't like that, so he left. And on top of that, I want you to elaborate on this, is that he not only left, and also this guy increased. Right now, it's over 36,000 employees in control of the border, and they can't control the border. You know, in other words, he was doing a good job 2020, 21, working, and now they got 15, 16,000 more employees. They can handle the border. There's still people coming across the border, and they just don't have the desire to control the border.
No, it's an open border. People are flooding in from China, boatloads of Chinese people. I just read a documentary about the Darien Gap in Central America, where there's a giant mountain. People are Chinese and from all over the world are landing and coming across the gap in organized troops. It's a stunning, it's an invasion. It's an organized invasion by unfriendly powers to the U.S. How many, and we already know, there's already been several hundred ISIS and radicals that have been apprehended at the border. How many got in that we don't know about? There could be sleepers in there that will show up in 10 years and bomb a building with you in it. So that's it's a disaster.
Yeah,
it's
a big disaster.
And he said, no, I'm not going to have an open border.
You know, what really makes me really upset over this is when you handle so many employees and you got this man of this stature, the least you can call him and say, hey, how you doing out there? You need more help? You need more soldiers to protect the border or what? This administration never got a hold of this guy in 3 years to talk to him and see how he was doing, what is it he needed to protect the border. Nothing, not a single phone call. So he decided to leave.
Well, Mario, you used the right word, the administration, because Sleepy Joe gets up at 10 o'clock, has one television interview, has lunch, takes a nap, goes to the beach, and then that's the end of the day. The department, his office, the executive office, runs his departments with minions, with people who control, and they're left-wing radicals that are trying to remake the country in a new way that doesn't fit with me and doesn't fit with you. So that's you use the right word. It's not Joe Biden, it's the administration. It's all the people behind the scenes, little ants running around opening the border, completely opening the border. The great example is I had a Twitter X post that talked about the border fence. There's two walls, and there were families.
Let me hear
about
this.
this show. I care deeply about facts. For fact's sake, it has been the only thing it is about. Our team carefully considers the reporters and the analysts we bring on every night to explain what's happening. One goal.
The fact that Ms. McDaniel is on the payroll at NBC News, to me, that is inexplicable. I mean, you wouldn't hire a wise guy. You wouldn't hire a made man like a.
Isn't this America? I mean, fair labor? We can report this to the Labor Commission?
Well, actually,
what's going on in this country, really? You know,
what Rachel Maddow is saying is, I don't agree with her, Ronna McDaniels, and so I don't want her opinion shared with anybody. I want just my Rachel Maddow opinion shared with everybody, and only my BSDNC, my MSDNC, or whatever it's called, opinions, and nobody else's. And that is, well, apparently the viewers are okay.
They can get discrimination sued in there, all kinds of things they can go in there. Let's play the rest of it.
There's been a lot of news this weekend about NBC hiring Ronna Romney McDaniel. You may have heard about it. But here's what I want you to know about this show. I care deeply about facts. For fact's sake, it has been the only thing it is about. Our team carefully considers the reporters and the analysts we bring on every night to explain what's happening. One goal.
The fact that Ms. McDaniel is on the payroll at NBC News, to me, that is inexplicable. I mean, you wouldn't hire a wise guy. You wouldn't hire a made man like a mobster to work at a DA's office, right?
It goes without saying that she will not be a guest on Morning Joe in her capacity as a paid contributor.
As you see from Morning Brzezinski there, the revolt was network-wide.
Okay, well, you can stop and go to the next one. Get it ready for me. Basically, here, everybody was really upset over Ronna McDaniel. Poor lady, she needed a job.
Everybody wasn't. All the employees who were to do what they're told to do by the boss wasn't able to tell his people, shut up, sit down, eat your beans. We're going to have a different opinion for a change on the show. They whined and complained and cried and crab-babied. 20 minutes that Maddow spent on her show bloviating about why Ronna McDaniels was inappropriate. And then they fall over on their sword and then fire her.
So basically, you know, we have to find a good attorney for Ronna McDaniel so he can sue these people for a big chunk of money so they learn that they have to be able to hire other people with other ethnicities and other opinions.
I think it's a political show, so you can take political people off. But I think that Ronna McDaniel should have had a close examination of her contract. She's still going to be paid. It's $200,000, and she's going to just coast down. There should have been a clause in the contract of reason and basis for termination. But on the other hand, you can get fired for anything, and if they pay you, then they pay you for doing nothing. Kind of like Tucker Carlson got fired on the Fox show he was on, the Tucker Carlson show. He's still getting paid, and that's the basis for the Fox News lawsuit against Tucker Carlson, where they're suing him because he's opinionating and he's still on the payroll, and he's not doing what they told him to say. Anyway, so Ronna McDaniels will keep going on, and the people on MSDNC, DNC, whatever it's called, they'll keep having their one-side opinion. It's disgusting. Fox News says fair and balanced, and they are. They always have another opinion. There may not be a majority on there, but everybody on Fox News is not all one way, off to here.
There's no reason to have people one way. There's no reason because then there's no dialogue you can combine. No, you can negotiate. You can find an exit. You know, go ahead, Salvador.
Congressman, we know, of course, that you are the congressman in Pennsylvania. Bob and I are. That's our home state.
That's right.
But your home state is New York. You were born in Queens. So I want to switch gears here and get your take on a few stories that I know are very close to your heart. On Monday, New York City police officer Jonathan Diller was fatally shot during a traffic stop. Now, the shooter was a career criminal with 21 prior arrests. Also on Monday, New York subway passenger killed after a man reported to be mentally ill pushed him onto the tracks. And this week, New York City announcing a plan to send 800 additional police officers into the subway. That sounds good, but their focus on catching fare beaters. This New York initiative is on top of Governor Kathy Hochul's list. Of course, we know she also sent 750 National Guard troops into the subway. But, Congressman, this just isn't the New York City that I have known for the past 20 years. And also, this does not seem to be even nearly enough, especially as New York City Mayor Eric Adams says, hey, crime's down, everything's safe.
It's astonishing that he would actually state that, and the media is backing up that claim, which I find unbelievable. Joe Biden discussed it in the State of the Union, how he actually had the audacity, the boldness, the foolishness to state how crime is down. Okay, it's not. It's violent crime is up in Philly. They might have had a couple of months in January and February, New York and Chicago, where some types of crime were down. They were picking and choosing. You know, the media, and absolutely not Newsmax. Newsmax lays it out. What's real is unbelievable, carrying this water for Biden, trying to tell people, don't believe the carjackings and the crime you see in the streets. And what you brought up, yes, I was born in Queens. I grew up not too far, a couple of decades earlier, than Jonathan Diller. He was brought up in Massapequa. Jonathan, of course, was gunned down by a murderer who had 21 previous arrests.
Okay, John. So check it out.
Well, that's running.
That's New York, okay?
Well, I'm running on my campaign for U.S. Congress 42, Long Beach, Lakewood, Downey, Bellflower, Bell Gardens, up to Huntington Park, on family safety. And family safety means don't defund the police. Family safety means fill all the positions. We have hundreds of open police spots all over our police departments that could be filled today. You don't need to defund the police. Just leave the police funding the same and fill all the positions. They don't fill police positions. They use it to balance their budgets. It's disgusting. We have family safety on the line, and that comes from great policing and security. And then sending all those policemen down in the holes in the ground in the subway, and they're not up on the top policing the cities, is terrible. It's a bad idea.
You know, the worst thing about this is they create their own problem. They eliminate the police. They intimidate the police. The police are not doing the job because they're not supposed to. It's against their policy. And now we have a problem. They create a big monster. They can't control it. That's what I said last week. Now, we talk about New York, okay?
But Mario, worse than that is the Gascon district attorneys that Soros funded and got elected who won't prosecute. So if the policeman brings in a criminal, alleged criminal in on a platter, booked and photographed and accused, if the DA decides not to prosecute, that's how somebody gets out with 21 arrests of serious crimes, and they never get prosecuted because the DA doesn't want to take it to court.
Okay, so basically, you know, that's New York. Now, fast forward to California. City of Long Beach, okay? Police arrested 2 in connection of the deadly shooting in Long Beach on Saturday morning. In a news release issued Sunday, the Long Beach Police Department say officers responded to a report of multiple gunshots and possible suspect fleeing the scene and by 7th Street and Main Avenue, just close to your office, very close to your office. So anyways, 3 people killed in that night.
Wow. And
guess what? They're all Latinos.
Well,
so the answer here, these people is coming in with guns, and God knows how many days they've been in the city of Long Beach, but they were chasing somebody in a car and they start shooting to each other. So when is going to be stopped? This is in New York now, in California, right next to your office.
Yeah, my office is on 4th Street. That's only 3 blocks away. It's really bad, and the issue isn't so much being Latino. It's the criminals that are coming in across the border without being stopped, checked, or vetted. There's no paper form filled out to tell us about your life, your history. Have you ever been arrested in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, or Salvador? No, just come on in. We'll give you a free cell phone, and we'll see you in 7 years. We'll see you in court.
7 years if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Okay.
And oh, by the way, 90% of the people that show up to court, and most don't, 90% of people that show up to court are considered ineligible for asylum, and they're sent back to the country they came from.
Okay, since we already touched our local and national news, I would like to go to international news. Let's go to Ecuador. Ecuador, apparently, this young girl, 27-year-old mayor of San Vicente, and a member of her left-wing citizens got killed in her own car in Ecuador. Now, you have an idea how many people is flying from Ecuador to here because there's so much crime?
Well, the problem started out when the president 8 years ago made friends and buddies with the cartels and the criminals and didn't prosecute. And in exchange, the cartels and criminals didn't make a big mess in Ecuador, but now they are. So now they have entrenched themselves in all the neighborhoods. They make all the businesses pay ransoms to stay in business every month, every week, and now they can't get them out. And Ecuador is just a dumpster fire of crime and gangs and cartels, and the current administration can't get them out. They'd like to. What they did in Salvador was really amazing. They arrested 82,000, a smaller country, 82,000 people and put them in jail. The MS-13 people who are supposed to kill somebody to be in good standing, MS-13, all those people, if you're MS-13, you're in jail. And then they went and prosecuted and put them into court. So that's a cleanup act, and it doesn't sound like Ecuador is on any lineup to do cleanup because the corruption from the cartels and gangs is so deep that half the people there are engaged and involved. So all the businesses have to pay a bribe to stay in business, and then they go pay local people a little bit of money every week or every month just to be reporters to the gangs. And so they're all on the take, or they're all forced to give to stay in business.
So that's in Ecuador, okay. I want to come back to Washington, D.C., the capital of the states. Would you agree with me that there's the biggest corruption is right there in our city, right in the belly of the Washington?
That's
what Pablo said 2 weeks ago. I call that corruption to the max.
Well, there's the government, the congressmen and senators, but the city of D.C. is run by Congress, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. Congress is responsible for funding, supporting the D.C. Congress, when it was Republican-controlled, put in a voucher system so children could go to whatever school they wanted. Their parents could take them to the best school in D.C. and it would be paid for. When the Democrats came in, they took that away and removed it. D.C. is, who's that guy that was doing cocaine and got caught twice?
Oh, in Washington?
Yeah, he was the mayor. It's
He's
just
a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It's 15 years ago, and it hasn't gotten any better. Is my point. The city's corrupt, and it's the poor people that live there. Poor people. It's full of poor people that live there. People that work for the government, making hundreds of thousands of dollars in salaries every year. They live out in Virginia. They live out in Maryland. They live out in Delaware. They don't live in D.C. So all the poor people are stuck living there. Lousy schools.
So, okay, John, I would like you to introduce yourself, that you are running for 42nd District, and so the people know exactly what you plan to do or what you got to offer, because we're talking about all this crime and you, one of us. So can you please explain to your viewers out there, you're running for the 42nd District, and you promise, please.
I'm John Briscoe. I'm the family man. That's my campaign slogan. I'm the family man. I'm a simple man. I'm a family man. Es uno de nosotros. The district is full of working people. The whole District 42 is actually 50%, one half Hispanic, full of hardworking families, mom and dads working 1 and 2 jobs, both to support their family, and they can't because we have too much inflation. My campaign statute, the standing platform 1, is the prices are too damned high. Gasoline at $6 plus a gallon. Eggs at, well, holy socks, I went to...
Almost $5.
Yeah, almost $5 for a stinking dozen eggs. And I don't care the reason why. They're up and they're high, and they used to be down. They need to go away. The prices are too high. And milk, all the basic essentials are too high. The prices are too damned high. We had a 30% inflation in the last 3 years. If all of you out there in internet land didn't get a 30% raise, 30% up, then you're short-sheeted. You're screwed, actually, because your money is spending less. You can't buy as much for the family. Can't go out to dinner. Restaurants, I read in the paper, are going out of business because people can't afford to go out because restaurant prices have gone up to the sky.
Business are going out of business.
They can't afford. The food prices are too high. So the first is John Briscoe, the family man. Es uno de nosotros. The prices are too damned high. The inflation's got to stop, and I will stop it. 2 is parent rights and responsibility. 3 is family safety. And family safety, the key points to that are the homelessness problem, and I have a solution for that, and the The defund the police. Don't defund the police. Hire the police. Just use the budget you've been allocated and fill up the police rolls and get out on the street and stop crime, stop the shootings.
Okay, sounds very good, Mr. Briscoe. And you will do that, right?
I will do that.
Okay, now let's talk. I want to go national and local to cover exactly what's going on. Somebody in the police department or in the city hall, they said there's not a crime to steal more than $900. To me, that's stupid, okay? Because all you did is you incentivize people to go rob more and more and more. Because it's only $900, so you rob $500 today and you rob $500 tomorrow, you barely make it to $900. So but in two different days, it doesn't count. So you can rob the whole week, 5 days a week, okay? So I have to give credit to this guy. This guy is better than the police department or the FBI or even a government agency. His name is Fraser Rose. He's a local people here from Santa Monica. He has good business. He sells some good quality clothing and hats and all the stuff. So he suffered a lot under this when people was breaking into the stores and stealing all this stuff, left and right. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago or something, this lady used to go there and steal and steal. So he finally got his act together and he figured out a way how to burn these people. So what he did is identify the people on Twitter who they have a lot of followers, and then he burns them. He says, oh, this is the lady who's been robbing me for so much. Here's the evidence, the tattoo on her ankle, the tattoo on her arm, and the same shorts and the same bag that she stole from me. Bungo, she's a #1 stealer. She's a, what is it called? Professional shoplifter, blah, blah, blah. Guess what happens? The lady came back 2 weeks and returned most of the stuff that she stole.
Oh, wow.
And she says to the guy, please don't do this anymore. Take it off. Please don't burn me. Don't burn me. Don't burn me. This guy deserves a medal.
Criminal doxing. That's fabulous. I hadn't heard about
It's
that.
unbelievable what he did.
Well, but the story you were talking about, I went to my 7-Eleven store across the street from my office, and they've installed locks, keyed locks on all the beer store, on all the cases. A little 7-Eleven store can't sell a can of beer without a clerk coming out of the counter and unlocking the case to hand the customer a can of beer to go pay for. In a 7-Eleven. And all stores can't afford to do that. And instead they get robbed and they go out of business. So I guess 7-Eleven's big and they can afford to. It's a disaster, this crime wave. Was stealing a little bit here and there. And some of the stores, I saw pictures at CVS and Walgreens where people came in and stole arms and baskets full of stuff, and the employees just said, okay, bye-bye, see you later. The company said, don't put my life in danger, so bye-bye, see you later. Go ahead and leave with all your stuff.
So John Briscoe, the moral of the story that we just told, the fact is most of the small businesses are getting it together, they're getting the message, and they're all going to make the change. They're all going to vote for it. They're all going to replace the government that we have right now. You wait and see. Because under this administration, that's when all businesses got hurt. They keep getting hurt. And not only that, they go after you.
And then they shut the businesses down for 2 years.
So these people, they're waking up, they're finally smelling the coffee, and they're going to get rid of these people. But watch this. They're going to vote against this, I call this unsupervised government that really just is not doing their job. They're not paying attention. They can care less about your business. As long as they keep collecting money, they're good to collect the money, but they're very, very bad on delivering.
And the salaries for all the staff that supports.
And delivering the money for us, they're very, very short-handed on it. Okay, let's play a clip from The Bridge. Let's talk about The Bridge, Briscoe. Check this out.
We've got great news for
The
seniors.
Bridge, my friend?
The
Please,
Social
The Bridge.
Security Administration has made a small burial fund available to every senior citizen who qualifies. But it's not enough. So the
commercial?
state has a...
Okay. Ah, we have commercials in our show. That's pretty good.
Where's the dinero?
Where's the money coming in for the commercials?
Where's the money, honey?
Pretty soon. Pretty soon.
No, this bridge has been run into before, Mario.
Really?
Oh yeah, but it wasn't like this run-in. It's been damaged, and there was conversation. It's not clear if they had properly protected it. This ship was so big it could ram through anything. So But
yeah. You know, but like you and I were talking about, it's such a bad thing because
reaction seeing
you see all
the
these
numbers here at that house.
Look, they brought the materials that they needed to effect the search warrant. The big thing is you never want to get caught short. You always want to bring more than you need to be able to de-escalate a situation.
Video from TMZ gives a glimpse inside Diddy's LA home Tuesday, the day after the raid. Drawers left wide open, computers and safes broke.
Put a pausa. They're talking about this Puff Daddy. Is this guy used to be married with Jennifer Lopez?
I don't
I think so,
her.
yeah. I think so, yeah. Oh, he's been accused of sex trafficking and making all kinds of deals.
I think he has ore in the water in a lot of places.
Oh, my God. That's a scary world. You know why? Because I used to like the music they used to produce, Dr. Ray and him and all these other ones because of my kids. But, I mean, you know, for them, they make so much money, and yet it's not enough. They go and try to get more money that is dirty. Why did they do that for? Why they go crazy and hustle more money when they don't have to? This guy owns 2 big mansions, one's over here in Los Angeles and in Miami.
What's going to be interesting, we have a public justice system. There's no secret hiding. What's going to be interesting is when it comes out what they found. Did they really find sex-trafficked girls and pornographic filming and things going on in there? I have no idea what they're going to find, but it'll be public.
Yeah, the girls. There's 3 girls filing the complaint, so they're very
There
young.
were 3 sex, but who knows what they found in the houses?
Oh, it got to be. I believe the complaint talks about forced to make sex with other people they're not supposed to, and but that's called trafficking. I mean, give me a break. So they need
in
to,
2 states, Florida and Los Angeles.
Yes,
California.
Big states. Let's finish that tape. Can you finish that up? Because I told you to stop, please. Look at the house. It looks
Diddy's
like
attorney calls this all a witch hunt, adding there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities.
Stop again?
It's going to be messy.
Stop.
There are going to be things.
Okay. Did you see this? Yeah, Briscoe, this is what makes me upset. They didn't say that it was so over force, over anything when they did to Mar-a-Lago.
No, what he should have said is, my client is innocent. My client did nothing wrong, and the man never said that.
Exactly,
he just said,
right.
they were mean to my
They
client.
go with the bandana, they start talking about too much force, it should be not because...
And Mario, his client wasn't even there.
Yeah.
His client was out of the area.
Wow, I don't believe this. This is so bad. And all the media is together with these people defending actually. They don't know what's going on exactly, what happened, but yet they defending the situation.
Oh, Mario, they didn't need to be so mean. They were so mean to the people in the house. He wasn't even there.
Wow, I don't believe it. Go ahead and finish it, please. Keep playing it.
Things removed. They took electronics. They're just going to take the electronics and leave the wires there.
The music mogul's home's now linked to a federal investigation.
Holy socks,
but
look at
Diddy's
that.
attorney says there has been no finding of criminal or civil liability. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name.
All right, that sounds very good. That's cool, but you know...
All right, we thank Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf there in Los...
And in the meantime, you know, it's nice for him to defend him. He has all the rights.
Yeah.
I just hope that he doesn't get a bail like $500 billion that Donald Trump. We'll see that, okay? So the bottom line here is this is exactly what I'm talking about. They're not equals to equals.
No, and Donald Trump wasn't accused of sex trafficking either.
Wow, I don't believe it, man. Okay, please.
$500 million.
Wow, this is so much evidence in here.
This morning, a stunning bridge collapse at the Port of Baltimore.
The entire Key Bridge in the harbor.
Oh, wow.
The Francis Scott Key
You see
Bridge
where the head is?
plunging
Right
into
there.
the water overnight after it was
because
hit by a
the boat
cargo
didn't fit in
container
there
ship.
underneath.
Well,
As
and
he
that was
hit the
bang
boat,
was
one of the...
ship hit the Key Bridge, sinking. The bridge is gone. Holy hell.
Video shows smoke coming from the ship before it hit the bridge. The bridge is normally a major artery spanning the Patapsco River, and though the collapse happened in the early morning hours, 1:30 a.m., video shows cars crossing moments before the ship hits. The traffic then paused, but vehicles were still on the bridge as it then crumbled into the water.
Wow.
Fire department and Coast Guard teams rushed to the scene, rescuers searching the water overnight.
Still very much in an active search and rescue posture. Our sonar has detected the presence of vehicles submerged in the water.
The ship is an almost 950-foot container vessel called Dolly, headed from Baltimore to Sri Lanka. The Synergy Marine Corporation saying it collided with the bridge pillar, and all of its crew members, including the two pilots,
the day before they were saying there was the propeller fell off, and there's not defending also, the company of the boat, the ship, and everything. Come on, you can see the video there. He ran into the pole.
The sad good news is they found there were 6 construction workers on the bridge. They found 2 of the bodies. They're still looking for the other ones.
Well, they claim
but they're dead.
6 dead people, yeah. So
well, there's 6 construction people that were working on it. No, where this leads to, and they didn't do that, is that boat normally should have been unloaded in Long Beach and the LA harbor. But because they built the new Panama Canal, it's made it cheaper and easier just to ship the stuff around Florida up to the East Coast. So our congressman needs to be working on getting facilities and the port cheaper than shipping stuff through Houston and New York and Maryland and Baltimore. But he's not. He's busy working, getting smog control and electric trucks in and putting little businessmen out in business.
All the green stuff?
All the greeny-weeny stuff. No, what we need are cost-cutting, money-saving harbor activities that make our Long Beach harbor cheaper than Baltimore. Think about it. They're shipping stuff all around the world from Sri Lanka to Baltimore and knocking bridges down instead of unloading them safely in Long Beach and putting them on a container train. So that's the problem that we didn't talk about on this is why is that ship in Baltimore in the first place? It normally, 5 years ago, should have been in Long Beach. We need the business. We need we're losing valuable union, high-paid jobs in the Long Beach harbor right now. We're really suffering. People are losing money. They're being turned off. They're being laid off. They're not being able to get work because the ship loads are smaller now. So instead of worrying about electric trucks, we need to be worrying about electrifying the cost of shipping through Long Beach. It's huge and needs to come down. Otherwise, there'll be no jobs. There'll be more unemployed people. California already has the highest unemployment in the country at over 5%. And if we keep doing things like not supporting our Long Beach harbor, cost of doing business, not greeny trucks and things, we're going to have higher unemployment. And nobody wants to be unemployed.
I saw a senator the other day calling Donald Trump white supremacy. You think that's normal for a senator to lower herself that low to call a white man white supremacy?
Is she the one from St. Louis?
Yes.
Oh.
You think that's normal?
No.
What kind of country we're living?
A wackadoodle country,
where's the respect?
And the U.S. Senator is a very high position, too. So for somebody in that role and spot to be throwing out comments like that is appalling. She has a whole lot of problems. I don't think she'll be reelected. She was an anomaly to start with. But we're stuck with her for another 2 years because...
Okay, right now I got.
So yeah, she's a wild. She's called everybody all kinds of names, and she carries the job of U.S. Senator when she does that. So it's not just somebody calling a name. She's a U.S. Senator calling a former U.S. President a white supremacist, which he isn't. And he actually did more for having his administration be multivaried and representative than anybody up until his time.
So let's talk about the niños, okay? Who's going to protect our niños?
Me.
Okay,
I'm the family man. When I'm in Congress, I will.
I want you to protect our niños. Our niños are the bread and butter of the future of this generation. The niños belong to God, okay? Especially this weekend, there is Holy Week. Leave the niños. God says, let the niños come to me. Let the little babies come to me because they're mine, okay? We need to protect them. I want you to take that role because the other day I saw this guy from CBS, Scott Pelley. She did an interview with this lady who's in charge of a nonprofit organization, and she just ignored her completely. she didn't want to give her no support, no anything. And it's, to me, it's like, what good is it to go and do an interview when they don't give you the slot, the time, and the credit, or the time to tell the story exactly what it is, because they're not out there to inform the public. They're out there to actually support the crime. That's what it looks like, because stories like this, they don't want to cover.
No, children are helpless. Children have nobody to speak. There's a saying, who is the speaker for the dead? That's why you can't make retroactive estate taxes, because there's nobody to defend it. Who's the speaker for the children? They're just little people, and they can't speak for themselves. And if there's nobody to protect them, they're stuck, and they get stuck in awful positions.
But see, what happens is, the children are getting used. In between right now, Latin America and the USA is the biggest consumers of the sex trafficking.
Yes.
So the bottom line here is, when Lopez Obrador asked Joe Biden for $20 billion to negotiate or to protect the border, they're not into it to protect the border, really. I don't believe a single word that Lopez Obrador says, because I think he's part of this. Because how can you release so many kids to people that they don't know? Like you go to the window and approach and you say, I'm his father. They don't even investigate. They don't ask for questions or anything. I went to pick up my granddaughter at school today, and they asked me for my ID. And I'm there every day picking her up, and I still went to the office and said, well, can you identify yourself? Who are you? What relationship you have with her? Or whatever. So I show my ID. These people, they won't even ask for IDs when you go pick up kids. They go, no, I like that one. Can you give me that one and give me this other one, whatever?
Well, they're flooding across the border.
They're giving these kids to anybody that goes out there and approach them.
And then they're not allowed under
They want to get rid of it so fast.
Well, the Obama lost in court where he was separating, he was keeping children together with their families, and it was taken to court because you're putting children in jail for the crime of invading America. So then they separated the children. So Trump came in right after that and was stuck with having separate children under a court order, not because he wanted them separated, but under a court order. What do you do with all these children? And the U.S. government doesn't have the immigration, and the border guards don't have the capacity to house hundreds of thousands of children, underage children, so they would send them off to anybody that claimed to be a relative. And they're going, they don't know where they didn't do a very good job tracking them either. They don't really know where they are. They don't track and check where they are 1 year, a month, a day, and a year later. They just send them off to a relative with an address and maybe a phone number. Maybe they even give the kids a little cell phone. Give the little 7-year-old a cell phone to come back in and get adjudicated in 7 years.
Well,
yeah, it's silly.
Okay, so you want to be able, if you get elected, you're going to be able
Not
to...
if, when? When?
November 5th. It'd be nice for you if you can enact a law on behalf of the niños. Take the flag and run with it.
I will. And what we're doing now is...
Just say like the niños, the lost childs, enact a law in the Congress.
Well, there's two sides. One is that 50-60% of the so-called niños coming over are 14, 15 to 17. They're niños in this country. They're children, but they're not really children in their own country or where they come from. They're essentially adults, emancipated, grown-up, children adults. The other problem is the 30-40% that are under the age of 15, 14, who are niños, and they do need help, and they do need protection. So when I'm elected, I will propose laws that create protection for the children through our immigration department and put them in safe places where they can't be abused and taken advantage of. Do full vetting for who we're shoving the children off to. Make sure that they really are parents or relatives. They're giving these kids to second aunts and uncles and distant relatives who claim that they know or are related to the kid.
Not even family related. They got so many kids, they don't know what to do with it. They just want to get rid of it.
They want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then some number of them get trafficked into sex trafficking,
And then some numbers are getting...
Or drug carriers, or
just, how this girl from Chula Vista, Rosario, she told me exactly, they get it and move it in pieces. It's a sad story to say, but it's happening.
Across the border. In the case of crime with cartels and those people, it's as if the border doesn't exist, because when people come up, they have to pay to go through the frontier area, and everybody gets robbed. They come to the country with nothing, and they paid $10,000 a piece or more for the coyotes to bring them over across the border. So when they come here, they're robbed, broke, and penniless, and they have to go make money to pay back the coyotes. Otherwise, those people will come after them in the United States as if the border didn't even exist. In the U.S., they'll come after them and make them pay, put them into crime, put them into prostitution, put them into drug trafficking until they get their money. Because they will and do get their money. The cartels make more money now off of trafficking people across the border than they do selling drugs across the border, which then leads us to the fentanyl discussion.
Okay, Mr. John, we're getting ready to wrap it
Oh,
up.
no.
But,
There's so much to talk about.
It's almost, it's already 6:55 in California. Temperature around 72. How do you feel the heat?
Well, it's why we live here. It's why we want to fix the state. We can't keep living with this disaster. It's a diaper load. It's a horrible situation with our government the way it is. And I'm going to work to fix it. I'll fix it from Congress, representing you in the 42nd Congressional District. As uno de nosotros, I'm the family man.
Okay, since you're going to be the family man, I'll ask you again to commit yourself in here to the audience that you're going to enact a law to protect los niños.
I will enact a law to protect the children, the immigrant children, really the helpless children coming across the border, especially the children 14 years and younger. Those are the children that need the most protection.
Yeah, what happens is I hope with this new guy that they got today, they went to check the houses on the day before, it won't be something like Jeffrey Epstein, another big glamour thing and everything. He's involved in so much garbage that doesn't make
We
sense.
don't know anything about it. There's no tapes. There's no testimony. Nobody's come up and said anything about it. And the man's dead, so who cares? I care. And clearly he had pedophile aisle, was selling sex to the highest takers. The difference between Diddy and Epstein is that the Epstein clients are high-ranking, powerful people who don't talk. The clients for Diddy are all movie stars and blabbermouths. And so once this thing opens up and once they start getting the sex tapes or what they tape them doing, these people the Hollywood people are going to be blathering all over the place. They get their day on the TV about what happened. And so we're going to hear a lot. And it's going to be really ugly. Epstein, we've really heard no real proof about it. Where are all the tapes? Where's his girlfriend, Guilford? Nobody knows. She got off, and now she's on her way. Does the FBI have the tapes? They raided everything. But this Diddy guy is going to be interesting because his clients were not confidential political people. And no Bill Clinton went to Diddy's house like he did to pedophile aisle.
Okay. Sounds like a very, very interesting to discuss for next week. It's a bad situation. I have another question for you, Jan Briscoe. Why the Democrats in power right now? Not a single Democrat wants to recognize the crime situation and where it's coming from and how it's manifested. The crime coming in from different countries like Venezuela and everything. They don't want to recognize it. They see all these people getting killed by people from that country, big gang and everything.
There's a fundamental divide in criminal theory. The one divide in Russia, communist Russia said criminals are criminals because they were socially depraved or deprived or socially tormented. And so it's not their fault. They're criminals because they couldn't help it. And so if we put them in the jail, maybe they'll learn how to do things better. The other side is criminals are criminals behaving badly because each of us is an individual, independent human being with our own right to our own body, our own right to our own heart and our soul for life, liberty, and the property of ourself and the pursuit of happiness. Those people say, no, if you make a decision to commit a crime, you're going to go to jail. You do the crime, you do the time. And right now we have administrations in our district attorney's offices who don't want to prosecute those people. They think that people that steal $850 instead of $900 have a social problem. Maybe if we let them off 15 times, they'll learn and they'll do better. No, they learn how to steal better. The other side, the Republican side, says, no, if you commit the crime, you have a jury that says you did it, a jury and a judge, and you've been picked up and accused, you go to jail. You take the consequence.
So last week we talked about Rebecca Ramaswamy did all that nice speech protecting Donald Trump and protecting the principles of this country, the decency of the single man and woman of this country. And you agree with me that we need more than 1,000 big Ramasamis, right?
We need a lot of Ramasamis. What he says is astounding, and it's true. Well, the other thing he didn't say, it doesn't take a village to raise a child. It takes a mommy and a daddy that made the baby, or at least two people to support and be there for the baby. It doesn't take a village. It takes a family, and I am the family man, and that's my advocacy. If you make a baby, take care of the baby, and we need to make sure our families are supported in that effort.
So you also agree with me as far as this guy when they exposed this lady to Twitter and X about the crime. His name is Franz. What was his name? Oh, Franz Rose. That's the guy that picked up the girl with the tattoo in her ankle and everything.
Oh, the tattletale merchant that told everybody about.
Right. So this guy, we need 1,000 of these guys reporting the crime. That way the government gets the act together. In other words, people need to get after and report and burn the people that are doing the crime.
I hadn't heard that story. That's a fabulous story, putting out the picture of the person who was stealing and saying, watch out for this person, be careful, beware. If you see them.
John, especially being that popular with so many followers, she had over 7,000 followers, you believe it? Once they find out that she was a creepy person like that, she forget it, lost everybody. He lined up with no more followers.
No, it's really sad.
So she returned everything to the store, but it was already halfway used. But the thing is, it happens, and now ever since this guy is on top of it, now he's doing something better than that.
Yes, and it's called doxing. That's when you expose somebody's where they live and who they are. And that's good. That's criminal doxing. I hadn't heard that. That's wonderful.
So since we wrap it up, we need 1,000 of these guys to protect the businesses. And those businesses are going to vote Republican this year because they're going to protect their family. If you protect your business, you protect your family automatically because that's your bread and
Mario,
butter.
when you say buy your business, this isn't a little store on the corner. A gardener who has a route that he's built up over the years, that's a businessman.
That's a business.
A man who has a pool route, who cleans pools, that's a business person. And all those businessmen, those are the kind of people in the California 42 district, hardworking people on the ground out working and making a living, not owning a store or wearing a suit to work. They're wearing working clothes. And those are the people that will elect me to Congress as soon as they nosotros. I'm a working man myself. I work every day. And I will support the working people in the California 42nd District.
Okay. Is that you wrapping it up for me?
I'm wrapping it up. That's John Briscoe. You need to vote for John Briscoe, U.S. Congress.
Okay, my friends, this is the end of the show. I hope you liked the show. I wasn't able to keep an eye on the computer to answer the questions, but for sure next week, we're supposed to do a great show today, but for some reason, some of the clips, it didn't come the way we wanted it. But little by little, we're going to super all the mistakes. I hope you hang around with us. Keep us company. Support our show. Share the show, please. Tell the story to other people. We got good stories here. And one of the things that we're trying to put together today, you remember what you were going to say when we wrap it up?
Sure.
Okay. So on my behalf, on behalf of Mario Lino and el show de Mario Lino, and on behalf of Estrellas de Los Angeles, I will shine the light for you guys.
And I will share with you what to look at when that light's shining on it.
Okay, and then Pablo, when he comes back, he will do whatever he has to do. In the meantime, Viva the USA!
Well, that's the show for this time. Remember, share the show. Share our ideas. Full of information, entertainment, and education. And most important, in search for the truth, the real truth, together.